Okay, 9.6% of increase and decrease. So again, we're still dealing with the concept of percentages, but now we're looking at original and new amounts and looking at what is the percent either of increase or decrease. So the first thing you need to know is the formula that we use to calculate percent of change. We're going to divide the amount of the increase or decrease by the original amount. So I need you to take a minute to go ahead and write this down in your notes. Okay, I should see everybody with a blank sheet of paper on the correct page, page 446. Please don't make me start calling names. Let's go. Okay, blank sheet of paper, books open. All right, so in example 1, they tell us up front that we're finding the percent of increase, okay? So it asks us, what is the percent of increase from 8 to 13? So I want to use my formula. P equals, and we'll just say the amount of change, either way, positive or negative, the amount of change divided by the original amount. Okay? I'm sorry? That's fine. Okay, amount of change over the original amount. And so now let's plug in our numbers. If I'm going from 8 to 13, how much, what is the value of the change? How much is it changing? By how much?
5.
8 to 13, it's changing by 5. So 5 divided by my original, 8. And what do you get? What's 5 divided by 8? It's 0.625. But can I just tack a percentage onto the end and say, okay, 0.625%? No, I can't. I need to convert it. I need to convert the decimal to a percentage. I do that by moving my decimal right 2 places, and I always do that. And my answer is 62.5%. And you can leave it like this unless I ask you to round it. Okay? So that's the amount or the percent of increase. Okay, from 8 to 13, it's increasing by 62.5%. Now in example 2, it's just the flip side. The good news is the process is still the same. It's just now we're calculating percent of decrease. So again, I'm going to use the formula P equals, and we'll use the abbreviation amount of change, AOC, over the original amount. Okay? Now again, I'm just looking at the difference between the two numbers to figure out the amount of change. So what's the difference between 49 and 35? What's the difference between those two numbers? You can put it in your calculator if you need
14.
to. It's going to be 14. That's the amount of change. So that goes in my numerator. Divided by the original amount. The original amount here, I'm going from 49 to 35. So the original amount is 49. And now in your calculators, do 14 divided by 49 and come up with that day. So it's a long decimal. I want to round to the nearest thousandth. And what do I get, Tyreek?
0.286.
Very good. 0.286 converted to a percentage is what? Josh?
My calculator keeps saying the wrong thing.
Okay, we'll fix it in a minute. Wesley?
28%.
28.6%. All right. Now let me ask you this. Since it's percent of decrease, is this percentage going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
It is negative. So on your homework tonight, and we'll go through a couple practice ones, but on your homework tonight, I want you to make sure that you include a negative sign in your answer if it is percent of decrease. Okay? Because we're losing a percentage, I want to make sure that I identify that that is a negative percentage because the numbers are decreasing in value. Okay? All right, so now I want to do a couple practice ones with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording, let you guys work through this, and then we'll work through them together. Okay, remember, the formula is to divide the amount of change. How do you calculate the amount of change? You need to subtract the two numbers. So what's the difference between 16 and 28? What's the difference? It's 12. And then my original amount is 16. What's 12 divided by 16?
0.75.
It's going to be 0.75. Convert it to a percentage, and you get 75%. Okay? Now, so... Oh, no, I was wrong. Okay. All right. So now, then on the second one, okay, again, I'm looking at the amount of change. What is the amount of change? What's the difference between 60 and 12?
48.
It's 48. Divided by my original, which is 60. And what do I get?
0.8.
0.8. And what is that percentage? Negative 80%. Remember, since it's decrease, I want to have my negative, and it is 80%. Remember, even though I only have one digit in my decimal, I still move it right 2 places. So I need that 0 for the placeholder. All right, so I calculate percent of change. Class, listen, stop talking. By dividing the amount that it changed, the difference between my two numbers, divided by the original. Okay, and then convert it to a percentage. Now, in example 3, we're sort of working backwards a little bit, okay? We're still using percent of change, but now we're coming at it from a different angle. This is very similar to number 5 on your homework tonight, okay? So you might want to rewatch the lesson if you're confused after you leave class today, all right? Using percent of change. It gives me an example of tacos. Yay, tacos. Okay, it says a taco company puts 24 taco shells in every box. But recently, the company expanded the box and put 25% more shells in each box. How many shells are in the box now? Okay, so what I need to do is I need to use, again, percent of change. I need to figure out what this number is, what the number is that it's increasing by. So I can use the percentage, 25%, I know that's the amount that it increased, and multiply that by the original amount, which is 24. But can I just multiply 25 times 24? No, I can't. What do I need to do? 0.25. I need to change it to a decimal. 0.25 times 24. Here, what I'm doing is I'm calculating how many taco shells 25% represents. So what's 0.25 times 24?
6.
It is 6. Is that how many shells are in each box? 6?
30.
It's 30. I need to add that now to the original. So 24 plus 6 is 30 shells. And that's how many shells they have in their new boxes. Okay? So I use the percentage to figure out the actual number that this increased by. And I know that it's increased because it said 25% more. We could also look at this on the flip side and do a decrease too. So you want to look at the wording in your word problem. And that's everything you need to know for 9.6 and for your homework tonight.